Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. So, today I'm going to offer you another conversation with one of my clients. You may be familiar with the one that I did with Ron a few months back. This one is with Ebony Shalom. She is, and I'm going to read this, a holistic practitioner of the fifth kind and creator of quantum energetics. Her mission is to help unlock the divine blueprint, navigate energy shifts, and break free from outdated cycles. So, that said, she and I have been working together for quite some time. She found me. We've been working through the spiritual awakening journey, and I've been helping guide her through this. But oftentimes what will happen is we'll have conversations. Everybody that I work with is different and unique in how we actually move through these sessions. And so you'll see today that a lot of this is very much conversational. I really wanted her to be able to talk about some of the things that she's been doing and the information that she provides on her YouTube channel, Ebony Shalom for the Divine. So check her out there. I think you'll really enjoy her videos. As you'll see in the video that I'm offering today in our conversation, we say the same thing, but we say it very differently. And it's always funny when we go, oh, we're saying the same thing. And we kind of know that, but I think you'll like how she speaks from that more quantum, I'll just say, perspective. Anyway, check out her YouTube channel if you're interested and you enjoy this. So anyway, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Carolyn Zaiser. I'm a channeler, I'm a distance energy healer, and a spiritual awakening mentor. And I offer all these videos and services to assist you in your awakening and ascension and life journey. So you can check out all my services on purplerainhealing.com. Again, I offer a 15-minute complimentary conversation to see if there's services that relate to what you're going through and if you'd like to work with me. So feel free to fill that form out and send it my way and we'll talk more. All right, so what I'm going to do is send you pretty much just over to that conversation and let you just kind of navigate through that, and then I'll finish up with you at the end. One thing I do want to just mention, because I always like to add kind of what's been going on as we have entered into February. Some of you who have watched my videos before, in particular saw this last February energy update, we were talking very much about this bubble popping, and we're going to reference this in the conversation too with Ebony, but this bubble getting ready to pop in February. Well, that's obviously still there, and I think we're feeling it. It's kind of like the pressure building kind of thing. And I'm talking about in the collective, right? But then we have also that, we can have that obviously in our own journeys, because we all roll up into this collective, right? Through our frequency, our vibration, our mindset, which creates the frequency of vibration. So one thing I want you to keep in mind, I think this is really critical, and most of you are aware of this, but I think it is worth saying again, is that we as a collective of humans have a long history of being driven by fear and guilt. And that is very much being ramped up now into extreme ways that can pull us into what I'll just say, staying in the old earth ways. But as many of you know, as you move into this awakening journey, even though we're seeing those things happening out there, the new earth is full of hope and a new way of doing things, a new, what you can say, the shift, the way we are meant to live, a new paradigm. And we know that, and we see that. It is literally that distinctive of what new and old earth is, all right? It's frequency and vibration, but it's all led by our emotions, all right? By what we're feeling, but how we react to that. It doesn't mean you might not feel fear on occasion, but then what we have to do is we have to unravel that and understand that and then move back into our space. And you will be able to feel that as you go through this awakening journey and you raise your frequency and vibration through all the work that we all talk about in this journey, and we're not here to cover that today, but you will be able to know when you move into, just say, those really strong emotions that so much of it is created by media, by our governments, by social media, and by others around us too, which is why we also separate out during this journey, right, from vibrationally and frequency wise from a lot of people that we've been with in the past, and now that no longer the vibration, you cannot match it. But anyway, the point in this is being able to recognize when you're going into, because we do still on occasion go into that space, right, or we dive too much into something. It's to know what that feels like and know you're doing it, observe it, and then have the conversation with yourself and come back out of it. As you come back out of that space, okay, of whatever fear, guilt, those lower emotions, right? Or those lower emotions, you come out of that and you start recognizing what was going on and that we're getting pulled in because it's really insidious right now. I'm just going to tell you, you have to be very conscious. All right. Anyway, the point in this is you're going to start to feel yourself come back to your new home frequency. It is literally that palpable. All right. So, what I really want you to understand here today, again, like I said, it's worth repeating, like they said to me earlier, this is worth repeating, is old earth is of fear and guilt, and it is ramped up like crazy, trying to keep us there. And a lot of you are probably feeling some of that. But where we're headed is this new earth. Remember, new earth, frequency, vibration. It's not a planet that's showing up. All right. Just here to tell you, this is all about shifting the way forward, shifting the vibration forward, moving into this hopeful time when we know there is new light to come and it is already shining down on us. And we feel this every single day, even though we do have our human things that are going on that can oftentimes get us pulled into feeling those lower frequencies, those lower vibrations. So I just want you to remember that, okay? So again, we can probably talk about that for a whole hour, but I'm going to send you over to the conversation with Ebony and myself. I just hope you enjoy it. I hope you'll take a look at her YouTube channel as well. And she's really been doing some neat work for the collective lately. And like we talk about, really kind of coming into her own. So here's Ebony and me having a conversation. I will wrap up with you in the end. Enjoy. You had told me about your videos, and so I've watched some of them. Wow, you're really cranking them out.
Yeah, so because I've worked out that I can do like a session and then break each of the portals. And because there's 7 main chakras, there's a week's worth of content.
Oh God, that's right.
I was like, universe, thank you.
Oh, that's right.
Just got me organized. I don't know if you've seen the first 2 of this week, but the messages that were coming through, I didn't know that I could do it for the Earth Realm Collective.
So wait, explain to me. So you're going to do, or so what did you mean? What did you just say about the everyday kind of thing that you could what?
Okay. So what I realized, and I didn't know that I could do this, is that I can go up and do like I do for individuals, like a blueprint activation. But instead of doing the activation, I go up into the void and then I can ask what energies are influencing the collective in Earth Realm that are keeping them stuck in loops, and what energies from the new Earth are coming in that they can integrate to overcome and elevate from the lower vibrational matrix. And it gives me the information.
Yeah.
And then because I'm tapping in, and then it gives me the insight, then my higher self just clicks in and goes.
You just break it through.
Oh, and then this week, so this one that I did a few days ago, so the last 2 has got me. I was so overwhelmed because we've got these waves of energy coming in and that are going to shift us collectively. For the first time, we've all been sort of moving in and out doing our thing,
right?
But these waves of energy that are coming in are literally taking us through a portal collectively to experience the new Earth, vibrations. And what is essentially happening is through that portal and through that collective moving through together, the abilities in the soul DNA are going to activate. So we're going to have this mass awakening of abilities in this high vibration where people are experiencing themselves for the first time in a way where they can go, oh my God, I've just experienced this. And it's not going to sound like crazy because there's going to be so many people understanding what is happening, understanding what's happening, but understanding. Yeah.
So I got to ask you this. So, because you and I always kind of usually align, we just talk about things differently. I do these monthly energy updates. They brought through, and I'm wondering if you relate to this at all in some way, if this makes any sense. They showed, and I don't remember all the detail because I don't ever remember my channeling, but they were talking about this almost like this big energy bubble in February. And they talked about it, this idea of getting ready to pop. And they always use metaphor, they always use, and it's just it looked like a big boil or a big pit, like something ready to pop is going to be
Yes.
building in February, and it's like it's getting ready to pop in like March or April or somewhere around there. Are you getting anything along those lines? Is that making any sense to you?
The only thing that's coming to mind is the fact that all the because the energies are processing to finality, right? And so
Yeah.
that's what the message was about. And this is only one of the first shifts. So essentially what's going to happen, people will go up into that higher dimension
Mhm.
and experience, but then they're going to be come back down again if they haven't done the work. But if it's available, they will know that it's available now, right? And so that bubble is kind of like
That's what that
representative.
is.
Yeah, it's
See,
kind of like,
because I read I basically bring energy through, to for
yes,
people to understand. See, that might be what you're talking about, is they burst
yes,
into that, they
yeah,
see or have that experience, then they come back down and now they've got to do something kind of with it. You know what I mean?
yes, and then they can't be. It's like this. So what I sort of saw with this shift is like everyone is going to be sort of that is shifting is in that bubble, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah,
they're moving collectively, and then they've opened the gateway. Once the gateway is open, it's always there, right?
yeah,
So it's you and I have opened these gateways, so we know how to sort of like shift in between realms.
right.
This is a collective in Earth realm that hasn't experienced it yet, and they're about to like shift into these like,
Oh, that's what this is then, I think, because
yes,
you're getting that's coming up here soon, right?
yes, it's February, but it's the first shift, right? But
Yeah,
then it comes back down. So you know how at the start you and I sort of like we opened up the different portals and awareness, and we were like, whoa, and then we had to work it out,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then we've sort of spent a bit of time going, what the hell, where, and trying to work, because there's so many of us already worked out how they're not going to have to spend
no,
years trying to figure
no,
out now
no, like we did.
what was that. They're
Yeah,
going to be able to tap in and find connections like ourselves and go, oh my gosh, like I have
that's
this ability. Can we break it down, and can we actually work on what that is and
yep,
get clarity?
yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Instead of,
because that is similar to what I've brought through in the past is we're magnetic and we pull them along. Where the metaphors were like cutting down the pathway in the jungle so that others can come through it. And or any kind of other metaphor of like breaking through and making a pathway,
yes,
like making a pathway for the others.
yes. And what does a bubble do? A bubble floats. A bubble floats, and then it gets to a point where it bursts.
Yeah,
So then they come back down, but the gateway's open.
that's it.
The consciousness has expanded. So now it's like they can move forward, that knowing
Yeah,
that okay, and it gives them a chunk of their purpose again. So the key to actually going back into that or holding that vibration is releasing the fragments that are left over. And so that's what I talked about in the last two episodes was how we are defining
uh-huh.
what the cycle, are we actually in that cycle, or are these memories, right, that are surfacing as fragments of energy that are at the end of the processing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, and
Mm-hmm.
so making sure that we're aware and going, oh, hang on, I'm actually not in that situation. This must be an old energy processing. And so how can I assist it? And then we just talk about how we can assist it in order
Yes,
to, yeah. So
yes.
it's really cool. I'm found this thing that I can do, and it is in alignment with what you're saying.
Yeah.
I was shown this is just like the first bubble. Essentially, it's going to
Uh-huh.
go up, it's going to come back down, but over the next sort of 3 months, 4 months, it's going to be that that natural the portal has been open, and that pathway for the collective in Earth Realm in a massive way.
Yeah.
Because this isn't just one or two of us going up at a time.
Yeah.
This is like massive. This has
That's
never
what this
happened.
is. Oh my God, that's what
Yeah,
this is. Now this makes sense to me because I don't ever, lots of times I can't make sense of what they bring through and I just bring it through. But I
yeah,
figured, oh yeah. And then because it feels as though, like, to your point, there's a whole nother group ready across the world to move into this awakening journey. And to your
yes,
point, they're going to get it's that's the pop and they get this experience and then they kind of have to come back down and integrate it
yes,
and work it. And
yes,
and they can't deny it is what I keep getting. They're not going to be able
yes.
to deny it.
That's what came through as well. It was like I don't remember the channeling either. When I watch the videos, that's when I go, oh my God, I remember the feeling if I get like a really surge,
Yes.
but I don't remember the details. So and it was explaining that we are going to have, like, when I say we, like everyone, because we're all going to get upgrades, but you're going to have these experiences where you're going to be like second guessing yourself essentially and going, what did I just like?
Yes.
Did I just see that person that isn't there walk across? And I just explained that it's about clair abilities. Like, we're moving into, if you can understand all the different types of clair abilities. Oh, so this was the other thing. So I'm just going to this is another book that I actually wrote about a couple of weeks ago about the clair abilities. The clair ability, and I need to get this one out like now, because there is so many different clair abilities, and you and I, like, we've been trying to put words to what we experience, right?
Yes.
There's no words, and the reason there is no words is because we're working with our clair abilities. And what are they work through our senses. How
Oh,
do you
true.
explain the
Oh
level
yeah.
of feel?
Oh, that's a
Like,
good, yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah.
right? And so this is like, I would when that's and so then I went on this like massive thing, and I spent a couple of days just researching all the different clair abilities. What I recognized, I was sitting there going, I can do that one, I can do that one, I can give an example to that one, that one, that one. I was like, holy shit. No wonder, like, I live in a different, I see the world different. I'm living through my senses.
Exactly.
And this is what we're
Exactly.
doing. We are living through our senses. And so we find it extremely hard to express that. Because and that's what I said in the last video. How do you, when someone says, oh, I feel your pain. Okay, yep, there's an acknowledgement there. But how do you feel my pain? Because
Right.
I will never know how you're feeling based off because we all, like, it's an expression, it's a personal expression. Like, I don't know. So anyway, sorry, going off on a
Oh,
tangent.
no, you're
There's so
not going
many
off on a
cool,
tangent. No, exactly. Oh my
but
God.
yeah, so I think having the awareness of the different clair abilities, for me personally, when I was sort of like going over them, I went, why didn't I have this list 10 or
Oh, I
20
know.
years ago?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
right.
Yeah. And there's, when I Googled like encyclopedia of clair abilities, there was nothing. And so that's what made me go, right. And so I've listed as many as I can,
Yeah.
give explanation. And then I just put my experiences of using the ability so that it's in a human term, so it's relative to a human
Yes.
experience, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
yeah, so then people can use it as a tool to understand
Right.
what they're actually doing. They don't have to try and find the words. They can go, I've got that ability, so I can explore that and expand on that. The universe has organized me, seriously. Because how many times have I said to you, I just don't know how to organize myself. And so I had a little chuckle when I realized, I was like, oh, universe, you're so clever. You just organized my whole week.
And you know
seven,
what? This is
seven,
what this
seven.
is what'll start to happen. And what
Yes.
it'll, I mean, it's crazy. I think I told you way back in 2018 when I had everything up and running, just starting out, and I was like, oh, but now I have to do marketing and advertising. And they're like, no, that's not your job. That's ours. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I just let that go. And then all of a sudden things just started to happen. And I was going to give you another example. Oh, like organizing, like you said, organizing your week or whatever else you're going to present. That happens with my week or my regular videos I do. Like all of a sudden I'll be like, okay, guys, I got to get the energy update done. The monthly one's the biggie, right? I got to get
Yeah.
this done. When are we going to do it? And they're always like, yeah, and I can feel it. I can feel it. You know when it's right to do, and they'll bring
Yeah.
it through when it's meant to happen, and it's just a feeling that you know you're going to get. The other thing that's happened with me, this happens all the time. It is the craziest thing. I'll have a busy week, full, right, ready to go, and then I'll be like, because I also teach tennis and I want some time for myself and I like to work out, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and now what they're doing, and they've been doing this for like the last couple of years, but I've really started to see it, is if I've overloaded myself, like I invariably, like, and it's with clients, they will
Yeah.
have somebody cancel or excuse me, reschedule because
Yes.
they don't cancel. They
Yeah.
reschedule or it's
Schedule.
like they forget, or I'm like, but
Yeah.
they'll do that for you. They'll organize your week.
Yes.
It's
Yep.
crazy.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. So
it's
now I'm
crazy
just
thing.
like, right, I've put it out. I did a heart centered focus this morning and put it out, dropped into the heart and said, okay, so I need to open up the pathways. So I did this. This is what I did a week and a half ago. And I said, I need some direction. Show me the doorways that lead to what I'm meant to be focusing on, because I've got so many things going on. And so then that's when the blueprint, like the channeling for the collective came in. I was like, oh my God, it was like there all the time. And I didn't even realize.
Mhm.
Okay. So then I've done the same this morning and just dropped in, but I actually, I found like a pattern because of this, that I was able to go back through. This pattern, right, goes back to when I was like a little lion. And when the war started in Lyra, and my mum was there. I did this journey into the Akashic records I don't know, maybe a few months ago. And it was more so for my mum.
Mhm.
And when I went in there, I was actually with my mum. And it was really bizarre. I was this little tiger and I had like these red, I I could see us and I had like red skin. I was a proper little cute little, little being. But we'd gone back to the planet and it had been already, the war had gone. But she went looking for my dad and took me with her. And she wanted to continue to look for him. And even though she knew he was gone, she needed to make sure that he wasn't somewhere waiting for help. And I was only little, like 2 or 3, maybe even smaller. But yeah, and she had the same stripes. I remember it so clearly, and I remember the glow of like just the universe and the planet, like, and how you can see. Anyway, we got killed. We got killed. There was still things on that planet. So this took me to, I don't know if it's relative to, because I've had a couple of different, it kind of ties into the other one that I had with Roxy as well, the very first one I had with her a few years ago. But I was only able to see what happened when my soul sort of like left my body, and how the Arcturians picked my soul up, and then how, yeah. So that's what happened there. But this went pre that. And so I didn't actually have to see again. I knew that it tied in, and I also knew what happened. So they took my mum away, and then I was taken also. So, but in that moment, I was able to correct a timeline here. And so what I actually did was came back in, when I understood the emotion and the cycles that that has created in our family line and with my mum and myself, I was able to give her a message that said, I'm open to receive all that is meant for me on my highest timeline. So she says that all the time now, right? And weird things that she rings me and says, "Hey, Em," right?
Oh
And
my
I'm like,
God, I
"Oh my
love it.
God." It's so cool. It's like, yeah, it's actually the thing that's made her trust in what I'm saying a little bit more, because
Yeah,
stuff's
yeah.
happened for her. But instead of getting off the ship, there was a whole heap of things, like emotional things that have been cycling for generations. Instead of getting off the ship, I said to my mum, we don't need to get off the ship because we can use our instincts. We know what has happened. And so we didn't get off the ship and we went back. So we instinctually knew and trusted our instincts not to get off, right? So we switched up a timeline here, which kept us safe, which put us in alignment with trusting ourselves and changed the course there. However, this morning when there's more to it, but I'm simplifying it. When I went in, it took me back to this place and where the ancient wound was still left, because I was so focused on my mum in that thing. It showed me the wound that I'd been carrying, which is the wound of like it's disempowerment. And in that moment, I felt really disempowered. And that's where my whole outlook of I'm not safe in the world, like I'm not safe in the world. And so what's that created? That's created cycles where I'm in these, where I'm constantly being
Unsafe
tricked
situations.
and manipulated and all this
Yes.
sort of stuff in these, it kind of like all tied in. And I was like, and so how do we correct this? Like I'm saying this morning, and they're like, just, and then I just let it sort of come in and it was like, well, just recognize that you were actually protected all along, and you've had divine guidance all along. That was that was part of the illusion that pulled me out of alignment, that created, like, through that fear that I felt, and because I hadn't shifted that energy, it created an illusion based in fear that I was not protected, where really when I come back into alignment, I see that through all of the cycles and lifetimes and everything that I've lived through, because of this wound, I've allowed myself to experience all of the different things that created it, to bring light to it. So now what I'm being shown is that we've come full circle and we can end that and know that it was all part of the divine plan, and that I am safe and that I've always been protected, and that the only person that I need to protect myself in any given world is myself, because I am part of the divine. The divine offers protection. And so it's only when I stop believing that, right? So what's the message is, it once again, continue to believe that we are divinely, and actually integrate the knowing that I am a divine expression of the divine creator, like, you know what I mean? Exactly. And have that essence in me. So anyway, hopefully that'll start like settling in, and we'll start shifting that. And then, so that was I wasn't expecting that this morning. It's all very exciting, and it's giving me the confidence. Like my confidence is, I actually, like, now I'm not like, even just this week, the shift from last week's one to this week, like I'm having these like my energy inside has shifted. So I haven't felt this for a long time. What I'm experiencing, like, it's coming back, and I'm feeling these waves as they come in. So I must have shifted fragments and processed things, because these waves that are coming in. So I've always been like a really, like, this very high energy and like on the go and everything. But in the last couple of years, I've just been like going along and getting bursts, but a lot of it's been like scrambled, not scrambled, but more scattered.
Yeah.
Whereas these energy bursts, I feel like because they're coming, they're not just energy bursts where I'm like, oh, they're actually going through my
They're
whole body
flowing
and
through you.
coming out. And I'm like, oh my God, I feel myself again. I'm feeling myself again. I haven't felt like this for so long. And
Because see,
so
you
I'm
have a frame of reference. You're feeling what you used to feel way back. Yeah,
yes,
you're coming back into your what you know is you.
yes. And so I'm so excited and so appreciative. And I'm so proud of myself for working on whatever, because I was starting to think that I'm not able to get, I was like, am I stuck on this like flatline type of thing? Like, oh, it's like, what happened? Where's my spark gone? I know that I'm like a very expressive person
Yeah,
normally, like it just got lulled
yeah.
because of the energy processing. So anyway, coming back.
Oh my
And it's
God.
good. Feels good.
Oh yeah. I was when I went to looked at your videos, I'm like, oh my God, she is on a roll. I mean,
Yeah.
you could tell that you got like there was this huge momentum that came forward. How long ago, when did you really start getting the momentum? Was it about 3 weeks ago?
Um, about a week and a half ago. That's what, and it still blows me away. I'm just like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
and you would get the same because when you work with different people,
yes.
teaches us as well what actually is out there. We don't
Yes.
even know half
Oh
the
my God, I
stuff.
know. I
So
know.
that's what's so mind blowing. It's like, okay, cool, I can go up there and do this. And then you're like shown this whole other universe of
Yeah,
someone else. And
yeah,
you're like, holy shit. So it
exactly.
feels
Well, here's
totally
the thing that blows
crazy.
my mind is I sit here and as I've learned over even this last few years, I'm like, oh my God, everybody that's working in this realm right now. Okay. And that's not, there are not a lot of us, but there are more, but everybody's got this nuanced twist of individuality and a special gift and or how they see things. And I'm think about if everybody in the world was able to come together, do their specially like, minds past lives, you're going into the void, all those things, right? And being able to activate people. Well, I mean, you imagine putting all that together when people start to understand who does what and the network of what can happen when you get people
Yes.
together to create
Yes.
and to heal people and to move us forward.
Yes. That's why I wanted to put together that online they instead of having like a what's it called? Like a the thing, the where you flick through the not an introductory, like the
Oh,
you
uh,
know what I'm talking about? Like a directory.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So instead of having a directory, literally having like a globe and then having on there like lights, like where people can click on and go, this person does this person does this, and we can see where all the people like are on the map and where they're lighting up,
Yeah,
where like, on the
yes.
grid, like have it on a grid around the earth, and so we can pinpoint exactly and what like that's I would love to do that. It's just another one of those
Yeah.
things.
And you know what? And then what I'm seeing after what you're saying is like on that, like you said on that grid, like, okay, so like I gotta explain this. Like the pinpoints of light are all of us, right? But then certain sub areas will light up because if you do, okay, and I'm not going to explain this right, but if you work with these, I don't know, 5 people, or you connect with these 5 people, you are able to
Yes,
do this thing. And then the light up will come somewhere else where you'll network with all those people, and then that thing happens. And
yes,
it's like going through stages. I don't know what I'm talking about, but that's
I do.
yeah,
I'm seeing the grid light up. So
yeah,
as you connect in people, right, that actually expands out. And the more people, so then each part of the grid starts connecting and expanding. So
yeah,
I'm just seeing the grid light up more and more. And this is what happens. This is what the New Earth grid does. It just
exactly.
keeps like amplifying with that energy. Like
Yeah.
every time someone activates and hooks in, because of the work that we're doing, and then they go off and also if they tap in and elevate to a certain frequency, they work with people, and that's how it's working. This is
Right.
how we are creating the new earth
And you
and the
know
grid
what? Yes. And
and
that
the
goes
energy.
Yep, that goes back to what we're talking about with what we saw where I sang February with the energy and how you were expressing it and popping in the
Yes.
another mass awakening. I mean, I think where this is going to be palpable. This next group, there's this
Yeah.
next, and I don't want to say group. We're all, whenever this happens, it's an energy that comes in that allows for it for new people to wake up, but we get an
Yeah.
elevation out of it too.
Yeah, that's right. That's what happens. That's
Yeah.
that's what happens every time. So, like uh, a collective, and that's what it's not anyone's like in front it's just different vibrations of collectives. And every time someone like those groups amplify, we all accelerate. So it
Yes.
doesn't matter which collective because and where they're vibrating every time we are all affecting each other.
Uh-huh.
So it's it's the coolest thing.
It
Oh
is.
my God.
It is.
Seriously.
I know. It's so cool. But anyway, it's fascinating to see like how is this like everything in our little pods gonna connect then? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like the pinpoints, the lights, the connection. You know what I'm saying? Being able to
Yeah.
connect in with all these people that are actually have this information.
Yeah. It happens through our hearts.
It
Like
does.
that's the thing. So the earth, we've got the earth and the at the earth's core, or what if you don't believe that the earth has a core, it's got an epicenter
Right.
that vibrates out. And through our heart, like we wouldn't have life without our heart. The earth wouldn't have light without its epicenter. Nothing would have
Yeah.
without that center, the core center. And
Right.
so through that vibration, when we activate, we actually align ourselves with the core frequency of the earth. That taps us into the universal blueprint. And that is why we're so sensitive and able to receive the messages and tap into all these different realms because the universe becomes available to us. And then because this new earth grid is being activated, it's like there's been this blueprint of the lower vibrational matrix that has kept us suppressed, right?
Yep.
But now because of natural evolution and you can't it just overrides that and now there's so many pathways out of it,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
into that high vibration, that new earth blueprint that is literally being put in place by the vibrations and the activations of all those moving in vibration and shifting their consciousness, that's just going to like that is going to override essentially. It's just
Totally.
it just keeps lighting up. I see like
Yeah.
the grid literally
You know what I'm
lighting.
seeing? Okay, as you're talking, you said the old grid or whatever. They just you're talking and then the blueprint, I'm seeing the old, we'll call it matrix or whatever, or the grid, like
Yeah.
dissolving into a shadow. It's not it's just dissolving away into this gray shadow and it just dissolves and this other one is coming out of it, but it's not even out of it. It's coming out. It's showing as blue, which is funny because it's the
Oh
divine
wow.
blueprint and it's
Yeah.
going out of the new energy, but it's not part of obviously the old grid because the old grid is, oh, they just showed the Wizard of Oz witch. They used the Wizard of Oz witch. Remember when she melted? Remember when she
Yes.
melted? It's the same
Yes.
thing. They show the Wizard of
Yes.
Oz a lot. So it's just dissolved away into nothing, and now this other thing is emerging out into this
Yes. Yeah.
the
And the blue
divinity.
probably like represents that expression.
Yeah.
The earth is like the expression because the earth throat chakra is also blue. So I associate everything like that. But the
Oh,
expression is
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That
It's
is,
really cool. I wish I could draw this because out of it is this blue, beautiful, new, whatever you want to call it, grid. It's the blueprint. And well, when you think of a blueprint, typical old blueprints, they were blue ink. Remember?
yes, yes, true.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So, and then this other thing is just turning into it just is turning into a shadow and fading away into dust. And they're showing the Wizard of Oz
Oh,
witch.
you know what you just said, how you explain that is actually how I see, like how I saw when Johnny passed over. So that
Oh.
is actually what happens. So when someone dies, the the blueprint of them, or the template, is left there, and then they drop, so that anything that is not of that high vibration,
Yeah.
and that they've been carrying in their blueprint, that can't go with them from this lifetime, that's, through the experiences, lower vibrational stuff, it literally turns gray, like a gray cloud, and then it turns into like a gray sand and just drops like
Drops.
sand, with like stardust.
Yes.
That's what I thought. That's what it came through as. It was like stardust, and it dropped out of the template. And that's when then the blueprint of Johnny started twisting, and there was just like, it went into a gold hologram, like a outline, and then it started twisting into the strands of the DNA, and went and started just like floating off. But the strands of the DNA got encased. It was like it was in a cage, but it wasn't a cage. It just became, instead of it just being free flowing strands of DNA, it actually like had four things around it, like frames, four things, and it was inside of it, and it was all sort of attached. So it was like a protective casing as it traveled to the next point. It was really bizarre. But what you actually said,
it's the same thing we're talking about.
same thing. So it's like it's the dissolving of the old, like, and moving to the next life. So that's what, that's really cool.
Oh my God, it's the same visual with Earth. And yeah, it's the same.
Yes,
it's the same thing.
Right. Yes. So it's the emerging of that. And then so that just made total sense to me, what you're seeing. And like, it just confirmed also, like, not that, but it's the same process, which also makes sense, because everything is the same process. It's just, but the fact that you picked up that expression in the same way, I'm like, oh, that is so cool.
That is so cool. Can you talk a little bit about the void and what that even is, and what that whole setup that you work within? Does that make sense? Can you do that?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think that would be a cool part to just add here.
Yeah, absolutely. So talking about like the void and going up there, and how we channel like the information from the blueprints that hold all the information. There's a universal blueprint, right? This is what I've sort of worked out in the last 6 months. There's a universal blueprint. These are the finer details, by the way, that all of us have in our heart space. It's all in our divine blueprint. And that is the core frequency of life, right? That's what the universal blueprint gives to us. Our divine blueprint, that is individualized to our soul, actually creates a pattern and holds that universal blueprint in it. But because of our soul experiences, and when we spawn as a soul right from the start, we have a unique pattern based off the coding and things that we're created from, and wherever,
like a unique energy. It's our energy signature kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right. And so then as we evolve, we create DNA strands in our soul from our soul experiences, which are held in that blueprint. And so what I've worked out over the last few years is that the lower vibrational matrix has been created a very long time ago, thousands of years ago. And it's been infiltrated by energies that have suppressed and held back the evolution of the earth and anybody that sort of like spawns here for experiences. So because of this, we have continuously cycled coming back to earth realm and not evolving. We've come back
exactly
cycles, right?
Yes.
So what happens in the blueprint then is that we create these energetic imprints, and those imprints, because the same cycles or the same energies being played out lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, because the energy is being suppressed, these imprints now have created these patterns of behavior, cycles of emotional, like unnecessary emotional cycles and things like that. But because of the evolution, the ascension process, our expansion in our consciousness, we are now able to see more clearly those patterns that we've been living out this lifetime.
Yep.
But what I've found in the blueprint is that it's not just in this lifetime that these patterns have played out in various ways over and over.
Well, and that goes to the past life work. See, it's always, we're saying the same thing. It's so interesting. It goes to part of that. Yes.
So then when I tap in here, I see like this holographic blueprint of individual souls, whoever I'm working with the clients. And I can see these imprints and the energy networks within their blueprint. Now, this blueprint is what they've been running off. And because of our evolution now, so what is happening is we can clear out the pathways, which I call portals. If you think about the energy centers in our physical body, those energy centers actually act as portals through all the different dimensions of self and lead us to the void, which is the quantum field. This blueprint we've been running off is we need to optimize this. And so we clear out the channels and we open up the quantum field to our blueprint, and we allow the quantum energies to come through those portals.
You know what they just are showing this? They're actually showing this is like when you just said we open up into through the portals, we move into that space. We open up. Oh, I got chills. As we do this unlayering, it's a little bit like coming up from the underground, and we're just like all of a sudden we come up into the light, and we come up into this new space of and that blueprint just kind of like, okay, this is going to sound weird, but it's like we just naturally gravitate toward it and we start to attach to it, and the blueprint is all of us. Oh, it's like all of us reconnecting, coming out of the depths and reconnecting into the blueprint, and then that starts to shine and get, I don't know what I'm saying, but I wanted to share that as you were talking, because they keep giving me visuals as you're talking.
This is what happens, because that is where we see, like, we come back into seeing like the universal blueprint comes into play. Those portals, the energy centers that connect us, when we lift that veil and clear out the portals that can access that quantum field, and we connect back into the universal blueprint, like we're always connected, but we haven't been connected in a way that we feel the divine flow.
Yeah, it's not, exactly. We're connected, but it's not lit up. It's not lit up.
And so this is what happens. We hook in, and then all of that divine essence from the universe, that universal blueprint, starts flowing through us. Our heart, when we activate the heart, which is part of the divine blueprint activation as well, when we open that up, that triggers a remembering of self. And so this is at that point, some people that have forgotten, like heavily forgotten who they are, things will come up and they'll be like, oh my God, nobody knew that about me. Yes, how did you know? I'm like, well, I'm just passing on the messages, and it's the higher self that comes through. So my higher self brings through these messages. I'm supported by their spiritual team, my spiritual team, and then there's loved ones past, there's other divine guidance that comes through depending on their soul connections. And so their higher self is activated. When this heart is activated, they have a remembrance, and that triggers off a whole network of energy, right, in their physical realm. So at that point, when they have this remembering in the heart, in the physical realm, and it's shared and recognized, that's when there becomes a clear pathway from the universal blueprint down into earth realm. And it's their job, if it is their will, to work with their physical body to keep these energy centers clear
Clear.
and flowing.
Because
And
that's
so
the key. That's the key. We know that. And
yes.
you and I both now know when something isn't optimized, right?
Oh,
And
oh, yeah.
I mean, and you can feel when, for example, good example, when my heart opened up and then my sacral with you when we did that work. Those are two areas. My heart was with the meditation that I have presented to my audience, but I'd use daily. And then the sacral part was with you in the work we did. And there's a huge difference now in, like, for example, I know you know when you're not tuned up, and
Yeah.
like, but the thing is, once you've done that work, for example, my heart is no longer closed because it's the heavy stuff. Now, the day-to-day stuff can kind of, pick at us, but it's basically we've broken down for, in my example, the heart part and the sacral part, that's gone. And so it opened up fully, and now it's just the daily kind of cleaning out. But the big
Yes.
stuff, you can feel go. Because now with the heart, for me, I never used to, and this was a great example because the heart rules the lungs, right? I could never get what I called the over the hill breath. I could never get a deep breath naturally. I would have to go, and then it would just happen like once in a blue moon. Now I do it all the time naturally because my heart opened up and I remember when it did. The sacral, as we know with my long journey with those energies, when you worked on me to, the kink in the hose thing, we took care of that. My episodes basically went away because I was able to process, like we said, that energy all the way through. There's nothing holding back to the point where it can't flow from heaven to earth and through us. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
out. But
And so
that's the thing is when they get the core part of that cleared out,
yes.
then it's just day-to-day maintenance. And we feel that. You and I both know what this feels like.
Yes, this is the thing. And that poses the question to you, how much easier was it then when you were able to understand like what was happening energetically,
Yeah.
when I sort of said, okay, well, this is what I'm seeing, that resonated and made sense to you. So then because of that awareness,
Yes.
you don't have the problem anymore
No,
because
exactly.
you know exactly what was causing it on an
Yes,
energetic level. So
exactly.
physically, you can assist yourself and it resolves.
Yes,
This
so
is
this is what, okay, I'm going to just give you some synchronicity. What they have said to me before is, people can say, well, why do I need to know my past lives? I don't really need to because that's my little specialty, right? Within what I do. And they're like, no, it is because it's past lives can cause so much that we bring through. It's like a, background tape playing in the tape of your life kind of thing. But it's
yes.
like literally when they say when mind, body, and soul come together and understand it, it's always the human mind that's the last to come along because the body exudes it and knows it. The soul brings it all in and kind of, knows the story, right? Waiting for us to wake
Yeah.
up. And when the human does exactly like you said and goes, oh my God, oh, and then it can start processing through. And it's not
Yes.
really, it can start processing through. And that's when healing, whatever you want to call it, really
Yeah.
can take place.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And if because we haven't been educated about like our energetic nature,
Oh,
when we can like really like understand how it just flows through us, it becomes a lot easier to
oh,
look after ourselves because we're looking after mind, body, soul, and which is
yeah.
like our energetic system. And then as you were saying just then about like the past life stuff, look what's happened. We discussed earlier on, like what came up this morning in that heart-centered focus that I was doing of Greg Braden's. There was like a whole unraveling of that ancient wound
Uh-huh.
that makes sense to me, that took me right back to the Lyrans. And again, to this situation that's come up 3 times now in 3 different places and in 3 different moments, I've been able to gain insights and hopefully close down that timeline and that cycle that was running off that timeline and introduce a higher
Yes,
vibrational timeline to exist from,
yes,
with the insights and the lessons and the knowing of where it started.
Yes.
If we don't know sometimes where it started, we don't get the full understanding to be able to overcome it.
Right.
Sometimes we don't need the full understanding of it. We can just go in and go, right, it's an energetic thing, and we can correct it. But then there's sometimes, in order to understand the self, and that's exactly where the past life stuff can come in and give us insights that make everything click together and go, oh my gosh, now I see it. Now I can move forward.
Exactly. And
And
see, it's
yeah,
interesting because we do similar work, but it's different. You know what I mean? And the way it's done.
yeah, I see the energy network. So,
Yes,
like,
that's what I keep getting. Yeah.
yeah, it's like a scan. So, when you see like a picture of a brain and they're explaining like how energy networks fire,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
that's so I see that, but it comes to light for individual, blueprints. It's not just in the brain, it's through the whole body.
Right.
But I just scan it. And so then whenever there is like a density, so you'll feel it or
Yes.
see it, or something will come to light, like a vision will come or a word will come, and then like it's all just, it
And then you
expresses.
know where to target. Then you know where to target your
Yes.
work and
Then you
open
just
up that part.
blast. Yes. And
Yes.
then you blast it with the unconditional love, that quantum energy, that from the universal look, that divine essence. Once you like tap in and start pushing that through, it pushes everything out. And then you
Totally.
can assist it.
Totally.
So I just it moving through.
Exactly.
Oh, it's an honor to work with it. And I've learned so much about people, and like you as well. We just keep learning. And
We do. We do. I think too, just kind of in closing on this part is the more you know about this, the more we see things, the more we see how we can be, the more we also can start to realize, oh my gosh, we have as a collective allowed ourselves very unknowingly to shift into such a low vibration. We have no understanding of that because lots of times it doesn't express out that way because we've been so enculturated with how we are and how we behave. But now it's all coming crumbling down because now we're starting to see all the cracks and the crevices. Like, wait a minute, this is not working. This isn't the dreamland we thought it was. You know what I'm saying? We're missing what we're talking about here, and this is the process we're using to get back into how we are really supposed to be living.
that natural state of being,
Yeah.
and exposing like the illusions just through our natural experiences. We're being able to now question, and things aren't making sense. And as somebody said to me just quickly the other day, things seem to be getting worse. I don't think they
No,
are. I
no, that's
think they're
not,
the same.
it's not
More
understood though.
coming to light. More is just
Yeah.
coming to light.
It's
Just
just
know.
not understood. It's not, most people that aren't aware they're going through this ascension process, right? Aren't consciously aware. They're going to look out there and think everything is just horrible. Absolutely. But this is part of this breakdown process that we've talked about so that and so much is being rebuilt at the same time, including ourselves individually.
And it's always, all this stuff has always been there.
It
It's just
has.
because
It's just
people are
coming to
nosy.
light. It's just
People
coming to
are
light.
nosy.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed the conversation with Ebony and myself today. Again, check out her YouTube channel, Ebony Shalom for the Divine, if you would like more content of this nature and to understand more of what she is bringing through and having conversation about. You can also check out purplerainhealing.com for all of my services where I offer channeled messages, spiritual awakening, mentoring, distance energy healing, and past life exploration. So with that today, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next video.